Hey, so this is what I've been working on. This is kind of cool. This is my new hardtail. Been working on this bike for about a month, and what's taken me so long is I had an old bike and I had an old framed Marquette as my hardtail, and I just didn't like the geometry. I mean, granted, framed for what they are, a value bike gives you a lot for your money, and it was a really fun bike. But since I got into riding my enduro bike, my Niner Rip 9 RDO, I really fell in love with that geometry and wanted something in a hardtail that mimicked that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and swap out the frame and build up a new bike. Of course, anybody that's done this knows you don't just swap out the frame. So let me walk you through the build, what I did, a little bit about the bike, my impressions of how it feels, and then that'll be it. So here's what I did. I had that framed Marquette bike. I went ahead and bought this orange P729 from Aventuron.com. Great service, great communication. I would buy from them in a heartbeat. Bought the bike on a Sunday. It was shipped from the United Kingdom to the US. I had it Thursday, which was great. So I swapped parts over, swapped pieces over, and as I did, I was like, these framed wheels are heavy and gross, and I want tubeless, so I would upgrade. And then I'd realize, I really don't like the handlebars. I want a 35 millimeter clamp handlebar. I'm going to go with this. And my frame didn't have a dropper, so I went with this. So let me just walk through, show you what I did to it, what's on it, and why. Like I said, this was more of a swap, so it was kind of budget-minded, using leftover parts I had in the garage, and trying to buy either lower price things on eBay or Amazon, or using what I already had. So let's go through it. So the frame, of course, got it from Aventuron and Orange Bikes, brand new. I found this race face turbine bar on one of the sites. I want to say maybe it was Jensen USA on clearance for $25. I couldn't pass up $25, and then I thought orange and green might be kind of cool together. So I got those. Had some old SLX brakes in the garage. Put those on there, and took the GX drivetrain from the framed bike and threw on here. The fork. This is a RockShox Reba. It's 120 millimeter. I think Orange recommends a 130 for this frame, but 120, like I said, is what I had from the old bike. Eventually, I'll probably throw a 140 on it, but for now, it works fine. I don't have an issue. Maybe after the holidays, I'll start shopping for a new fork. So moving on back, to go with those green handlebars, I've got one of those Cricut vinyl cutters. I thought it'd be kind of cool to go ahead and make my own metallic green decals and get rid of the factory decals. So I did that. On the other side of the bike, I do have an a green orange sticker right here. But the one on this side, I didn't really like the placement. I peeled it off, and I just haven't replaced it yet. All right, so moving on back, sticking with the budget, I found this FSA dropper on eBay for less than $100. The thing is pretty cheap, but it works. It's by no means the Fox Transfer I have on my other bike, and I'll tell you, the lever that it comes with sucks really bad. It mounts on the handlebars like this, and you push down with your thumb. A lot of rattling, not real positive. So I ditched it. Actually, I replaced the Fox lever I had on my other bike with a wolf's tooth, and took the Fox lever and put it on this bike, and it's a huge improvement. Durability on the seat post, I don't know. I'm starting to see some wear marks on the stanchion, but for the price, if I get 6 months of use out of it, I'll go ahead and buy a Fox eventually. All right, moving on back. Drivetrain. This was the drivetrain from my old framed bike. It's SRAM GX 11-speed, no Eagle. Works great, no problem. One thing I wanted to replace pretty quick was the framed wheels. While they're solid wheels, they're budget wheels. They're heavy, they're wide, they're heavy. So I went ahead and looked around on eBay, and I found these. They're the Stans Baron S1 with Neo hubs. I got the wheel set on eBay for $350. It's Stan's budget wheels. I've got the Mark III Flows on my other bike, so I went for a lower budget wheel. They work pretty good. I did have one time where I was riding and my tire pressure was a little lower, and I bottomed out and hit a flat spot on one of my rims. Took a nylon hammer and kind of banged it out. It seems to be holding fine. I'm just going to keep riding it until I have more issues with it, and then I'll deal with it. But I think that was probably more user error than wheel problem. The wheels I have on here, these are actually brand new. I haven't ridden them yet. These are the 27.5 plus Maxxis Minion, the DHR and the DHF. These are 27.5 by 2.8. Actually, I'm really excited to get out and ride them. Hopefully this weekend. It's been raining. But just put those on and ready to get out there and see what it feels like. Now, one thing to notice is the 29 version of the P7, but it's also compatible to run 27.5 plus, which is what I'm running right now. I like the 27.5 plus because it does give you that little bit of extra comfort and give. And really, from riding my 29er full suspension enduro bike to riding a 27.5-inch hardtail enduro bike, I feel like I can turn this thing in the corner so much better. I feel like it's a lot more agile, and I'm really thinking about swapping the wheels out back and forth onto my full suspension to give 27.5 a try on the Niner. But we'll see. Before I can do that, I'd have to make sure the disc brakes are compatible. Right now, I've got a 180 in the front and a 160 in the rear. Like I said, those Shimano SLX are working pretty good on there. What else can I tell you about it? That's really about it. Let's talk about the headset, I guess, maybe. It's the Cane Creek 40. Nothing special. It's a budget headset. This is the one that has the tapered... it allows for a tapered steer tube and a straight 44 millimeter. So it's the internal cup up top and then external on the bottom. So anyway, but enough of that stuff. The way the bike rides, oh my gosh, this thing is pretty amazing. I got out and started riding. My average speed on our local 6-mile loop near my house on my full suspension bike was, high 9-mile-an-hour average, maybe like 9.5, 9.6. I took my hardtail out there and the average speed went to like 10.9, and it was pretty ridiculous. I'm not a racer by any means, but I noticed how much faster it was. And really where the speed was being made up was probably in the flats and climbs. I wasn't getting any PRs on the downhills. I still think I'm faster on the full suspension on the downhills. But it is noteworthy that this bike, the geometry is very similar to my Niner. And there were times that I'm riding and I think, oh man, my suspension's really stiff. I need to reach down and turn it off. And then I realize, dummy, you're on your hardtail. So it's kind of funny. The ride is very similar, just minus the suspension. What else can I tell you about it? It's a good bike. I like it. I like it a lot. I would do it again. It is kind of neat having an orange because they're not a very popular frame. Everybody's got Santa Cruz. Everybody's got Trek or Specialized. You don't see a lot of orange bikes in the U.S., so it is neat to have something a little different, and it's not different at the cost of being less quality. This is a really nice quality bike. It's 525 Reynolds steel. The build is nice. The cool little cable routing they did, let's see if I can get it in here. They have these metal clasps that are screw in to hold your cables. They have these grommets built in to hold your dropper. Has internal dropper routing. Back here, of course, you're using zip ties for the shifter and brake. But just some really neat kind of finishing touches. It does have the ISCG mounts, and I've got a MRP bash guard on there. So it's got some neat stuff. It feels good. The geometry feels right. Oh, it's all blurry. And really, that's about it. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And y'all have a good day.